On this edition of Cronkite Sports Live, baseball. We have last night's highlights, and we'll hear from new head coach Tracy Smith on how the Sun Devils are adjusting.
Never supposed to be able to play sports, this ASU gymnast sat down with us to discuss how she overcame the odds.
And Promise Mukamara will say some things too. Cronkite Sports Live starts now. Good afternoon. Welcome you to Cronkite Sports Live. We being myself, Jason Chesler, and nobody else. Because, well, this is our show and we can do what we want to.
That's actually very right, Brett. We can say and do anything and everything. We have a universe of possibilities to choose from. So, ASU Sports?
Sounds good to me.
Great choice. Let's start things off on the baseball diamond. Phoenix Muni, ASU taking on CSU Bakersfield. Bottom first, let's get things started. Chris Beal got the scoring started for the Sun Devils. That's a 2 RBI single, 1 and 2. ASU up 2-0 early. Seth Martinez, he was rolling last night, but he had some trouble here in the second. A single through the 6-hole by Chance Guspeth. That cuts ASU's lead in half, 1-2. RJ Ibarra rockets one to right, but oh no, it's Guspeth once again. Fantastic catch. Nevertheless, Jake Peavy outscores. The ball pops out. They don't double anyone up. That's a fancy way to talk about a sac fly. Dalton DiNatale, solo home run. That's a spoiler. No, it's not. You can tell that ball is going out. Now, jumping forward, trouble in the top of the 8th for Eder Irives. So we have a single to start the inning. Diving play by Chris Beal, can't make it happen. A walk. But wait, there's more. Mound visit. Sun Devils trouble in paradise. You can see they still have a 4-1 lead, and we have a hit by pitch. So bases are loaded. Not the situation you want your reliever in the bottom of the 8th, top of the 8th, I beg your pardon. And it's a 2-run single. Funny how those walks and hit by pitches, they always seem to come back and get you. Thankfully, the Sun Devils, they have quite the insurance policy. It's Ryan Burr time. Easier said than done. He does pick up the out, but gives up an RBI in the RBI ground out, beg your pardon. 4-4, bottom of the 9th. Trevor Allen, this could be it. This could be far gone. Not quite, Rob. Kept in play, nearly a walk-off, hit off the left fielder's glove. We have a balk. That's why we're showing you a missed bunt. It was a balk. The runners advance to second and third. And finally, Jordan Abointes. Is he a pitcher? Is he an infielder? He's a walk-off hero. Solves all problems. He walks things off for the Sun Devils. ASU wins 5-4. They mob him in celebration because, well, that's what baseball teams do. And now for more on this game.
Sun Devils eke out a 5-4 victory over the Bakersfield Roadrunners alongside Dominic Cotroneo. I'm Kerry Crowley. Dom, Seth Martinez gave Arizona State a brilliant start tonight. The first of 4 games the Sun Devils will play this weekend. He went 7 innings, allowed just 1 run, 9 strikeouts. What was working for him?
Well, he said he had a lot of confidence in his fastball tonight, and when it was working, he'd use his slider as a strikeout pitch, and he really was working, getting 9 strikeouts again. But he said after he gave up the run in the second inning, he really wanted to put the pedal down, make sure he wasn't going to allow another one, and do his job out there on the mound, and he really did.
Well, the Sun Devils held a 4-1 lead heading into the 8th inning, but they still had to call upon Ryan Burr to get out of trouble. He ended up finishing the inning in a 4-4 ball game. That was kind of a little mess for ASU.
It was, and also because Aboitis went back to the game in second base, so that eliminated the DH, means Ibarra wouldn't be coming up in the bottom of the inning for the Sun Devils, and that loses the DH. It means Burr has to bat, and that was a bit of a comical scene here when he walked with a full count, and Aboitis was saying inside of the dugout, there was a couple guys giggling, and that his swing needs some work since he swung at the first pitch of that at bat, but still, Burr wasn't his normal vintage Burr tonight, and neither was Aboitis coming in. Didn't even finish his one at bat. Irives was not his best either tonight, but I think he got a Thursday night. It was a little chilly tonight as well. It's tough to get hyped up for these games against opponents like Bakersfield, so you still need to make sure you win these games, which they did, and they found a way.
And then finally, they did find a way. 4-4 ball game, bottom of the 9th inning. Tonight, the hero was Jordan Aboitis, hitless on the night until he comes up and rakes a single.
Aboitis said he just wanted to take that fastball. He saw it on the first pitch. If he got another one on the outer half, he's going to swing at it. And that's what he did. Didn't try to do too much. He came in with the plan. He was watching him earlier on, and he got intentionally walked to pitch to because he was 0-for at that point in the night. So he said a little bit of a fire in his belly, but you want to get out there and make sure that he did his job for the team. Just dumping in a single, not trying to do too much, but Trevor Allen sure gave his ball a ride and almost sent us home a little earlier.
5-4, Arizona State takes it over Bakersfield. The Sun Devils pick up the first victory of the weekend here at the Phoenix Muni Classic. They'll go on to play Bakersfield again, then they've got Purdue and Gonzaga, but they start things off with a W. For Dom Cotroneo, I'm Kerry Crowley. Back to you guys.
Thanks a lot, Kerry Crowley and Dominic Cotroneo. So we've seen last night's game. We've heard about what happened. Let's stay on ASU baseball. I bring in Jake Garcia, WCSM baseball analyst. We're going to zoom out, take a look at the big picture here, Jake. New manager for ASU baseball. The skipper is Tracy Smith. And you say he's already put his stamp on this Sun Devil team.
Yeah, correct. We've noticed a trend as to how he puts his lineups together, and he's been predominantly going with a matchup-based approach, platooning first, third, and left field to start this season off. We're going to show you exactly what we mean by this with this graphic right here. Tracy Smith realizes that he has two competent starters at both first base, third base, and also in left field. So depending on the hand of the opposing pitcher, he's been starting the opposite batter. When there's a left-handed pitcher facing ASU, the right-handed hitter will get the start at first, third, or left field, and the other way around when there's a right-handed pitcher. This is all designed to eliminate the lefty-lefty matchups, put his hitters in favorable positions, and really maximize the potential he has on this team.
Jake, to hear about that Moneyball-like scenario, that potential, you went out to ASU baseball practice, heard it from the man himself. Here's Tracy Smith.
Historical. I mean, traditionally guys have not done well. You know, we're looking at some of that stuff. But you know, some guys are a little bit better better in the batter's box, so we remove them later in the game when the other guy's better defensively. So it's that constant what gives you the best chance to win at that given moment. And I would rather not do it, to be honest with you. But right now our personnel is dictating that because consistency at the level that we want it may not be there. Right? It's not to say it's not going to be there, but if it takes two players to get what we want out of that position, we have no problem doing that.
Tracy Smith then went on to insist that he still considers himself an old-school coach. But with these platoon matchups, that's not really appearing to be the case. Remember, these aren't his recruits. These are Tim Esme's recruits. And so Tim Esme, given the fact that he wasn't a very good recruiter, Tracy Smith now has to go and kind of modify and adapt this lineup to certain situations. That's exactly what he's doing with this platoon system he has in place. And we may see a dip in the counting stats and the at-bats and Beal, Dinatelli, especially the left-handed hitters in this lineup. But since they're only being placed in positions in which they're more likely to succeed, that is against right-handed pitchers, I'd like to see and expect to see their batting average, their rate stats like on-base percentage and slugging only increase as a result.
So once you start talking about rate stats, advanced statistics, that must mean we're done with baseball for the show. Jake Garcia, everyone, from one coach looking for success with the Sun Devils to one who's already had plenty of it. Here's Brett.
That's Coach Charlie Turner-Thorne and the ASU women's basketball team. They took down Stanford a couple weeks ago for one of their most meaningful wins this year. In their 5 games since, the Sun Devils have lost as many games as they previously had all season. That's 2. On back-to-back road trips, the absence of starter Kelsey Moose, who partially tore ligaments in her elbow earlier this month against California, was certainly felt. But in dealing with these bumps in the road, head coach Charlie Turner-Thorne remains unfazed heading into the last weekend of Pac-12 play before the conference tournament.
Through that stretch and come out 3 for 4. Our only loss being to, of course, 7th-ranked Oregon State on their home floor. 1 possession game. Oh, we were right there. I think we're feeling really good. I think we're feeling really confident. I mean, other people have had to step up and play bigger roles, and they have, and they've done a fantastic job.
Thorne says Moose, averaging 7.5 points and 5.6 rebounds this season, could possibly return this weekend with limited minutes. In need of help on the glass, the Sun Devils will benefit from Moose's size and experience as they head into the Pac-12 tournament.
Game and rebound wins championships, so our main focus is just going in and just rebounding and just taking one game at a time.
The Pac-12 tournament begins next week in Seattle, Washington. ASU currently sits at 2nd in the conference, with California and Stanford close behind, Oregon State right in front. Gavin Stroll will have more on what's coming up for this weekend's women's basketball team and our weekend forecast later in the show.
The date was April 21st, 1995. Taylor Allex was born in New York with a condition that doctors said would prevent her from ever competing in athletic competition. The date now is February 27th, 2015. The ASU junior gymnast is on scholarship and is slowly becoming a go-to performer for the Gym Devils in every meet. WCSN gymnastics reporter Tyler Paley talked to Allex earlier this weekend in the latest edition of Sun Devil
Taylor,
Sit Down.
Can you walk me through your diagnosis with Erb's palsy at a young age?
Well, when I was born, I was 10 pounds, and it was a bit difficult to get me out, I guess, and I didn't want to come out. So they ended up having to pull me out, and they pulled me by my arm, my left arm. and when they did that, they damaged all the nerves and the tendons. So, like, originally I was just supposed to pin my arm to my shirt and just, you know, live through my childhood and not do anything about it. But I started seeing, like, a bunch of therapists and whatnot, so my parents started that right away as soon as they found out that I was never supposed to be able to do sports or really be a normal kid.
So, did the Erbs palsy ever affect you in gymnastics?
No, it did not. It did when I was younger. Like, my brother or my dad would pick me up and it would pop out all the time, and we'd have to go to the hospital to get it reset like 3 to 4 times a week. Or, it happened when I was really young, but honestly, this is my stronger shoulder now. Like, I don't know, I haven't had any issues with it at all, so.
What do you think overcoming this challenge says about you as a person?
That I don't give up. I don't know, honestly. I think it's really cool to say that, not cool, but it's cool to say that I overcame it, like you're saying. I wasn't supposed to be able to do sports, now I have a full ride to, a Division I school, so honestly, it's great. I love it.
What advice would you give to somebody in a similar position who's trying to overcome a challenge that may prevent them from participating in athletics?
I'd say not to give up, and there's always options. There are things that can't, be helped or changed, but honestly, I think there's always a way if you're persistent and you just keep trying.
Now, Tyler, the interview says a lot, but give us the behind-the-scenes look. What's it like working with and speaking to such an inspirational Sun Devil athlete?
Well, you said it, Jason. She's such an inspiration and truly a pleasure to talk to. Thank you to ASU Gymnastics and her for sitting down. And you can catch the full interview on cronkitesports.com right after this show. But let's take a look at her last 3 meets. We'll take a look at this graphic breaking down her last 3 meets at Utah, at Arizona, and against Oregon State at home. 3 amazing all-around scores for her. She's really becoming the go-to performer for these Gym Devils. She told me after the interview that she really wants to be a part of the all-around for this season, the rest of this season, and next season. So she will continue to be the go-to performer for these Gym Devils.
And the Gym Devils back in action right away, Tyler. When and where can they catch them?
Well, they'll go up against UCLA tomorrow on the Pac-12 networks. You can catch that at 12 p.m. Mountain Time right there.
And you can catch all of Tyler and the rest of our gymnastics team's excellent coverage online at cronkitesports.com. From an inspirational ASU athlete to one of the most successful Sun Devils, Brett's got more.
You're referring to John Rom, a man we've talked about somewhat extensively on the show, but perhaps at the expense of the rest of his team. Yes, the men's golf team is crushing the competition, as easily as the Sun Devil Junior leading them is, in fact. With their tournament win at the 2015 Prestige at PGA West on February 18th, this team has strung together 3 straight tournament titles for the first time since 1999. Junior Max Rotluff finished the Prestige tied for 4th at 10 under, 1 stroke behind Rom, who finished tied for 2nd. Their go at a 4th straight title starts March 9th in Las Vegas. And we bring Jason in there with him once again at the desk, the 2 of us, but we've had people between us all show. I think we should keep that going.
I agree, Brett. We've been separated this entire show. I'm not ready to get back into anything intense one-on-one right now. Let's bring in the third party here. My old friend, you've seen him on basketball. I prefer him on Twitter. Cam Neely, our social media analyst.
Hello, you guys. Thank you for having me in. As you guys said earlier in the show, Gavin Shaw is off forecasting some other thing today. So I got the relief, called in by the higher-ups of CSL. And we're going to talk about tweets. So, Joey, why don't we go ahead and just get right into it with our first tweet of the week. And as we see here, Jake Peavyhouse is talking about Tuna, how Tuna is quickly becoming his second favorite lunch option, only to triple-deck PB&J sandwiches. There's a lot going on there. What do you guys think about Tuna and then a triple-deck PB&J sandwich?
I have wavering thoughts about tuna. I'm not sure. I've had it, sparingly throughout my childhood. Never been a big fan. On the other hand, peanut butter and jelly, not triple deckers or whatever he's talking about. I've had a peanut butter and jelly every day for the past year and a half. So I kind of hate peanut butter and jelly now.
Well, maybe it's because you're not using the triple decker. It's very innovative.
I agree.
That wouldn't help.
Have you toasted the bread, Brett?
Yeah,
Are you leveling up your PB&J? I actually never ate tuna growing up. The scent, I found it kind of gross. Lately, I've been trying to kind of watch what I eat in terms of where it's coming from.
Is tuna good, though?
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah,
it's
exactly.
very good with cheese and cheese.
So I've started eating tuna, as long as it's not too mayonnaise-y. I like it. I like it a lot.
Yes or no, both of you?
Extra
Do you
mayonnaise-y.
approve?
Yes on both.
Yeah, he's fine.
Okay,
Man
cool.
talking about food, good thing.
I like
Very
food.
good. Let's go to the second tweet, Joey. And here we see, again, Gavin, I don't know how he missed this, but here we have, via a retweet, Alicia Davis, the ASU women's basketball point guard, nay-naying after U of A lost to Arizona State. And here we have, again, the Instagram picture. There's a lot going on. I don't know how any of us missed her nay-naying at center court after ASU upset U of A. What do you guys think about this?
Cam, there are two basketball teams on this campus. I think most people know that. Men's team, women's team. The men's team, they're struggling right now. They're having a rough year. The women's team, they're having an excellent season. The women's team nay-nays after U of A loses. It all adds up, guys.
Isn't Nene a basketball? What is a Nene?
No, Nene is you.
Nene
It's a
or
dancer.
something like that, right? Is that his name?
But he's a player also.
Okay.
It's a player also.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is the team that dances together clearly wins.
You have a point there.
I don't know
do you have
what that
anything?
is.
How do you not know what it? Let's go to the next tweet,
We
Brett.
did John Wall.
Yeah, you're scaring me.
I know that.
Okay, here we have a past Sun Devil here on Instagram, stuck in an elevator. Again, a lot going on here. We got a young lady over to the right, a young man trying to mean mug the camera to the left. What do you guys think about the man with the beard stuck in an elevator?
It's incredible.
Yeah.
When
Do you think- do you think this-
fearful, I'm surprised they don't look as fearful as they should be. Really, the people in the background. I'm surprised.
Yeah, and he was talking
bold.
about in the caption about how he's fearful and hope that nothing happened. But I feel like it might be a little bit of a thirst trap there to get some extra likes from James. I don't think he needs that.
James Harden does not need to trap anyone into liking his photos. A, he's an MVP candidate. B, he's got a great beard. C, he's rocking the camo in 2015. That man is on trend.
Very good, very good.
I've got you, James. I got you.
That's all I got for you guys this week. Maybe Gavin will be back next time.
You did a great job. I don't think so. We'll keep you around, and Gavin, he's found another niche on the show, and we'll show you guys what that means later. Well, Jason, enough of Cam. That was one of his first times doing the social media segment for us. It's a ring of fire of sorts for anyone thrown into that situation. Luckily, what a segue this is. Our next segment is our ring of fire.
Did you just think of that?
I did.
Wow.
Top of my head.
That's really good. Okay. Awesome. We're gonna be like, we're gonna be putting that in your team.
Because she's just blunt. Oh my gosh. The Kanye of our team is Peace, for sure. Because she actually dressed up like Kanye. Peace likes to think that she does, but definitely Neely and Prom are tied for it.
Well, if I don't brag, I would say me and Promise is kind of button heads, but I have more followers.
But I get more likes on my pictures. During the game, the one with the, I can't do it. I don't know.
You know the surprise emoji that's like...
Come on, devil! Come on!
Out of the ring of fire and back to our regularly scheduled programming, some sports analysis, this time courtesy of Tyler Strachan, covering some ASU softball, beat reporter for the team. We'll get to the looming matchup with Michigan in just a second, but first, there's two freshman pitchers who haven't yet played the Wolverines that deserve our attention.
No, they haven't yet played the Wolverines, but the start to their season hasn't been totally pretty, but I do like what I've seen out of both of them. You got Dale Rindak, one of the freshmen. She has been absolutely solid, I would say. 2.58 ERA. She's only allowed 6 home runs, and she's got a lot of innings under her belt so far this year, so she's kind of taken the role as the lead starter for this rotation. Brianna Maha, on the other hand, the highly touted prospect, kind of struggling with her consistency, got an ERA over 4, but we'll look to see the potential come out of her later in the year.
Yeah, these two are replacing two of the best pitchers for softball in their history. But on the hitting side, they've still got one of the best players in history, and that's Amber Freeman. She's stacking up, once again, another great season, leading the Sun Devils in almost all major categories.
Oh, yes. Amber Freeman has been absolutely ripping the ball out of the gate. She is hitting .396, slugging .800.
Wow.
She's getting on base nearly 50% of the time. I mean, just unbelievable numbers from her. But you know, the biggest thing, Brett, is the offensive support she provides for her young pitchers. She actually calls herself the team mom. So to give them that confidence has got to feel good for her.
Well, with Michigan coming up, like we said, how's everything going to mesh together? 12-5, the Sun Devils so far, not quite what they were last season. And this is a statement game coming up against the Wolverines, the team that's eliminated them each of the past 2 seasons.
Oh, yeah, like you said, they have been eliminated by Michigan the last 2 years. Last year, Amber Freeman got robbed on a home run that would have won the game. So this is a really big game for her and all the returning starters. But not just emotionally, but this has got some statistical value. Big measure game for ASU. Michigan is the 3rd-ranked team in the country. If ASU can maybe steal a game from them, that'd be a huge confidence boost going into Pac-12 play.
All right, well, ASU versus the number 3 team in the country coming up this weekend. Tyler Strachan will be there to cover things. We're going to send it back to Jason Chesler on the other side of the desk.
Thanks a lot, Brett. 3-game winning streak. A ray of hope for the NCAA tournament. A team that actually looked capable. ASU Basketball, they had these things before last night's matchup with the Utah Utes, and well, they don't have them anymore. The Sun Devils got doubled up by Utah, 41-83. Things could have been worse. ASU scored 9 points in the first half, and yeah, that's a great half for the Sun Devils soccer team. It's not so great on the hardwood. ASU, they travel to Colorado to take on the Buffs on Sunday, where they're going to hope to, reach double digits in both halves, hopefully. Now, from one team that's struggling to one that's been quite successful the past few years, take a look at the MCLA ASU Lacrosse. Brett brings in Troy Lynch.
2 games into the lacrosse season, and the ASU men's team is still ranked 2nd in the MCLA. And based on their play and wins over Cal and Stanford, their total of votes, first-place votes in the polls, went from 1 to 2 this week. So look at that. It seems to be business as usual for the Sun Devils. They'll get a chance to make a statement this week, and getting a chance to make a statement is Troy Lynch right now, a beat reporter for the Sun Devil team. First, 2 weekends ago in UCLA, the Sun Devils start their season out 2-0 over Cal and Stanford. What'd you see?
Well, I saw a team that was almost as good as last season on the championship side. I mean, there's 3 players who really stood out during the game, and if we take a look at the graphic right now, we're going to see Dan Davis, Cooper Paquel, and Kyle Denis. They did most of the scoring for the Sun Devils that weekend. Dan Davis already on a tear, 7 goals, 1 assist. I mean, he had 59 goals last year, which was 3rd in the MCLA, so he is absolutely outstanding so far. And if we see more production from Cooper Paquel and Kyle Denis, ASU will be very dangerous.
All right, to that I say, so what? Because so what if just these 3 guys are great? They ain't going to need the depth. But I was out at UCLA, and I did watch a couple of those games, and I saw the depth that they showed on the field. Who specifically surprised you?
When I was listening to your call, some of the names that you guys said really surprised me, and 2 of those guys are Billy Main and Rhett Rogers. Billy Main, he's a senior. If we take a look at their stats from last season, they're not up to par. Billy Main last year, he had 2 points in the first 2 games. Rhett Rogers only had 1, but they both stepped up big time. Billy Main, 4 goals, 1 assist. Rhett Rogers, 4 goals, 3 assists. And when I was talking with Coach Stone just the other day, Brett, I asked him if he was surprised by their performance, and he said no. Billy Main has been a leader ever since the beginning of the year, and Rhett Rogers, he's just a workhorse. He stays after practice just to do a few extra sprints, making sure his conditioning is up to par. So I think if we see a little bit more surprises, ASU, they could be another championship contender this year.
Well, with all the roles increasing for a lot of the role players that you're talking about, it's a big deal. Their first chance to really put a statement on the season, though, like we said, will come this weekend. They play Cal Poly, the number 8 team in the country. Troy, what are we going to see against these, their first real test of the year?
Well, it's going to be interesting. UCSB, they are not up to par as they were last year, 4th in the MCLA. They have already dropped down to 24th. And they already lost to USC 5-4. They already lost to Cal Poly 11-2. So they're shuffling back and forth. But Cal Poly, that's going to be the big game to watch. They are looking dominant on the defensive end and both on the offensive side. But the only thing that concerns me with them is they haven't really played anybody who's that great. I mean, and their offensive production's okay. They get past 10 points some of the time, but it's not up to where it should be. So I think whoever plays the more complete match against ASU, that's going to come up with the win. But if I had to say right now, I think ASU is going to win 10-8.
I'm going to hold you to that. If it doesn't happen, you're off the show. That's all. That's the last thing you ever do for WCSN. Right. Troy Lynch, thank you for joining me here. Over back to Jason, who's got some playing in the sand to talk to us about.
You know, Brett, I'm really glad you don't hold me accountable that way. That's scary. Good luck, Troy. So Tempe, you're right, Brett. We're talking about sand. Tempe's always had plenty of heat and dirt, but 2014, they brought a new element to the table, sand. 3rd time I've said it in this tease. ASU's first season of sand volleyball was a relative success. Now, with new players and assistant coaches in place, the Sun Devils are ready for the 2015 season. Our Zach Pokleb has more.
The coming of spring not only means baseball and softball returning to action, but also Sun Devil Sand Volleyball. In 2014, Arizona State fielded its first Sand Volleyball team, but now ASU is even better equipped heading into the 2015 season.
We were just excited to be outside. It was like, hey, it's a sandbox, let's go and play. And I think this year we're just approaching it with a little bit more intentionality.
Those changes include a full off season of work for ASU sand-only players, as well as new additions to the coaching staff, including 1996 Olympic sand volleyball player Deb Rose.
She has a lot of great experience and expertise, and she shared a lot of really cool things with us.
You know, she has an enormous wealth of experience and knows what she's doing, and I think has eyes, you know, she sees things that we don't even comprehend.
ASU is coming into the season with a much more dedicated effort than the 2014 season, which featured just one sand-only player. That player being Jordy Chekhov.
Yeah, I think it's pretty crazy for me to see that, seeing other girls just play sand and come into step into kind of my shoes too.
Although the indoor and sand games seem similar, the Sun Devils are discovering slight differences and hoping to become a better program with the new adjustments.
We're actually learning the sand part of the game rather than bringing our indoor game and hoping it works out, you know.
From sand to indoor is two different sports. So I think for the girls to come, they're athletes and they know how to transition. And so I think that's really cool, but we need to be there for them and let them know, hey, this is how we're passing right in front, straight, low, and you guys have to transition. We only have a week, so we got to do it quick. And they've been great at that, so.
New approach and new mindset will be on display for the Sun Devils as they travel down to Tucson, participate in the Arizona Invitational on March 6th and 7th. Reporting from the Para Club, I'm Zach Pokleb, Cronkite Sports Live.
Thanks a lot, Zach. And we've got an update for you on Gavin Shaw. You may have noticed he wasn't in our social media segment.
I noticed.
That's because Gavin requested to be put on something hard-hitting and investigative. We promised him we had something for him that would make Outside the Lines, hey, even Edward R. Murrow jealous. Unfortunately for Gavin, we lied. Instead, he's got a green screen in the sports schedule. He still has a very important task. Gavin, I command you, please give us our weekend forecast.
As always, I'll start with the qualifier that this is not a weather segment, despite what meteorologists may tell you. You can't predict the weather any better than you can discern the colors of that clearly white and gold dress. The only certainty in life is sports scheduling. I'm going to take you through ASU's for the weekend. Let's jump into Friday's games. Expect an angry Arizona State baseball team, considering they're coming off their first February series loss since, 2005. Some intrigue in the Purdue matchup as the Boilermakers are the arch rivals of Tracy at ASU Skip Smith's former team, the Indiana Hoosiers. Softball has the most exciting game of the day as they get to take on the Michigan Fighting Wolverines, the team that shocked the Sun Devil in the regional round of the NCAA tournament last season, when Amber Freeman was robbed on what would have been a walk-off home run. Women's basketball takes on Utah, whose men's team embarrassed the Sun Devils last night by a ridiculous 41-9 halftime lead on the way to a 42-point victory. Fortunately, ASU's women's team is about as good as Utah's men's, and vice versa. On to Saturday. Don't call them Gym Devils. Gymnastics team takes on the 10th-ranked UCLA Bruins. The Devils are sure to be motivated by losing Snoop Dogg's son to the Bruins football team. Continuing a trend of schools that are known for more than basketball, ASU shouldn't be too challenged by Gonzaga. Finishing up with softball, it's likely Binghamton will be too busy thawing out from that Arctic upstate New York winter, trust me, I should know, to provide too much of a challenge for Craig Nicholson's squad. And on to Sunday, ASU softball, who couldn't beat the Wolverines last year, get a shot to do just that. The men's and women's basketball both get to take on Colorado. No matter how shiny Herb Sendek's head is, the men's team isn't very good. And considering the women's team has already beaten Stanford twice this year, expect a split against the Buffalo. Once again, I'm Gavin Shaw. Without the weather, back to you guys at the desk.
Hey, we're back in here, and now time for another segment we've been tweaking, and we're going to keep going with it. It's called The Way It Is. The two of us are going to tell you the way things are in Sun Devil sports, and at the end, our producer, Anthony, will pick a winner. We don't know who's going to win, and we'll give about 30 seconds of a FaceTime and tell you guys the way things are. Jason, you ready to begin?
I think so.
All right, the Arizona State softball team exists, and they hit a walk-off grand slam this week, and the next day, hit a walk-off grand slam. I went to Denny's because they also have a grand slam, and they served me a grand slam the very next night. I'm still walking those off.
Wow. Speaking of walk-offs and not of Denny's, ASU baseball has had their fair share as well. Colby Woodmansey on the opening series, and now my knowledge of baseball nicknames indicates he could be called Woody, Woodman, Mansey, or Woodmansey. Those are all great baseball nicknames, Brett. He walked off, and then most recently, Cal State Bakersfield, that matchup, Trevor Allen scored the winning run. ASU baseball, they might not be a perennial College World Series contender, but college baseball, like an Arizona sunset, is beautiful to watch.
Walking into the sunset, the Arizona State men's basketball team on their season rest in peace Sun Devil tournament hopes. Cause of death, Utah. Kudos, though, to the ASU, our WCSN reporters who kept believing until the very end.
And speaking of believing, I believe in Mike Bercovici. I believe in his grace, his poise, his talent. Todd Graham also believes in Mike Bercovici, as shown by the new offense the Sun Devils are implementing. It's based off that of the New England Patriots. So Berco, we talked about the poise. We know he's got charisma. He's got skills. He's got a heavily scrutinized significant other. Is he ASU's Tom Brady? He's a superstar, that's for sure. But as a Jets fan, I don't want to have to hate you, Berco. Don't be like Brady. I love you.
Hey, Brady's the MVP. I'll tell you what, there's a couple MVPs on this show today. We got sand volleyball, gymnastics, and golf. A huge shout out to Zach Pocklip, Tyler Paley, and I guess myself, but also John Rom and that team for giving us things to talk about. MVPs all around.
Wow. And moving on to another MVP, ASU hockey. Their regular season's over. They've got the tournament, they've got the Murdoch Cup, but a regular season MVP, I'm picking Sean Murphy. Liam Norris leads in points, dominant assist maker. Eric Rivard leads in goals. And of course, Ryan Belanger, he's the superstar. Sean Murphy, he does it all. He carried this team. I got you, Murph.
We're done, Anthony.
Pick
Please.
someone.
We need a winner.
Pick someone.
Is that me?
Ah,
look at that.
That was a fake out. Who is it?
What's going on here? Anthony, you need to tell us. What is that? Oh, man, I'm a little disappointed now, given that. Jeez, that was for my senior prom 3 years ago. Well, earlier this week, especially on Monday that was, Keith Olbermann used the word pathetic to describe Penn State students, the same ones responsible for raising $127 million for pediatric cancer since 1977. As a student journalist trying to hold on to at least some faith in this industry, to me it's bothersome that a media icon would use his influence to call hundreds of thousands of people pathetic without even having met all but a handful of them. That kind of vitriol that Olbermann offered is irresponsible and breeds more of the same from others on the internet. Because for some reason, people believe the weight of our words varies based on where they're said. I don't, and I hope that one day soon, half the internet will stop being a cesspool. But for now, that's the way it is.
That was impressive, Brett. I'm almost happy you won, mostly because I'm really scared of what picture of me
I'm excited
has.
to see what that picture is. I hope next time my picture is different. I want to keep that going.
In case you didn't know, our producer, Anthony, he's a little bit of a monster. He terrifies us.
Yeah. You know what doesn't terrify us?
What?
Top plays.
Wow. This is true improv. I haven't seen these. Have you, Brett?
Nope, never.
Play number 3, we're looking to ASU gymnastics. We featured her earlier. It's Taylor Allex. What a score. Not a perfect 10, but I've been told perfect 10s are rare in gymnastics. Play number 2.
Back to the diamond, and it's out of here. It's Dina Talley's home run from last night. Jason, oh, there it is. I did see it that time. Before, I couldn't see it on the graphic. It's that dark sky, but the ball does clear the fence. We can now confirm it.
That's why I had to assure you it's far, and it is gone.
Thank you, Jason.
Play number 1, the top play. Not just one of the top plays. The baseball diamond, Woodmansey. It's a walk-off. Uh-oh, we went over his nicknames. Is he Woody? Is he Mansey? Is he Woodman? He's a walk-off winner. He's a hero, Brett. That's what he is. But I'm going with Woodman if I had to pick the nicknames for ASU baseball. Unfortunately, they don't let me. I submitted several requests to be the official team nickname maker. Colby Woodmansey, you're a hero. Congratulations.
You're on fire today, Jason. You're my hero. And you're all our heroes for watching out there today. Well, thanks you for tuning in to Cronkite Sports Live. Remember to stay tuned in all week long, whenever you want, 24/7 on CronkiteSports.com. Check out some of our broadcasts this weekend on Pac-12 or Pac-12.com. It'll trip you up, but I think you got it there. Plenty of ASU broadcasts this weekend. Gavin Shaw told you about him in the weekend forecast, so you got to do him a favor and follow up on that. So once again, thank you for everyone in studio in today's show. For Jason Chesler, I'm Brett Deckard. Thanks for watching, and have a good one.